And this is a timed race. Italy in the dark blue, light blue is, Sweden in the dark blue, and Italy is the light blue. Here they go. Winding their way around. They're going to come down towards the funnels. A very quick race. Let's see who can get through that first funnel first. The answer is going to be undetermined. Yep, there it is. Sweden through first. They're through one. There goes Italy. They're through their first. Sweden down to their final funnel. Here comes Italy. Is it going to be too little too late? It's going to come down to the final funnel. Who gets through it first? The answer is going to be Sweden, maybe. Here they come. Circling. There's Italy. Too little too late. Sweden finishes at a time of 40 seconds to 41.13. And Sweden moving on. And now it's Iceland against the Netherlands. You can see there, it's a very quick matchup for these opponents. Iceland in the dark blue, and the Netherlands with an early lead. Iceland got off to a slow start there. The Netherlands trying to take advantage as they come down towards their first funnel. A little bit of a lead there for the Netherlands over Iceland. Looks like the Netherlands have maybe orange. Hard to tell with the lighting on the funnels there. It makes everything look a little bit orange at least. Both are in their second funnel. It may come down to the final funnel here. Netherlands are through to the final funnel first, and they made it right through very quickly. 28.15. And it's a dominant win for the Netherlands. They got a very quick transition from funnel 2 through funnel number 3 and down to the end. They win it by nearly 12 seconds. And by the way, Iceland finished at a time of 40.03. That would be good enough for a dead tie with the first matchup's winner, Sweden. So they still put up a respectable time, but Iceland is coming home, and the Netherlands are moving on. Germany takes on Brazil. That was not a close one, which is what we've seen a lot from the Netherlands. A lot of close matchups. Here's Germany against Brazil, and down first, very tight. Germany in the black, and yellow is Brazil. They are nearly in a dead heat as they come to that first funnel. We'll see who gets through first. That may be the determining factor. Who can get through that first funnel first? The answer is Brazil. Down to the second funnel. Who gets out of that one first? The answer is still Brazil. They're into their final funnel. Still in the second funnel is Germany. They are running out of time. Here comes Brazil. At the end, it's Brazil with a time of 33.21. They win it. Ahead of Germany, who had trouble in that second funnel and is going to go down with a time of 39.24. Again, a respectable time. They beat 3 of those. They beat 3 marbles there. 3 teams unable to score what Germany did, but unfortunately for them, their opponent, Brazil, finishes first. Here is China against Belgium. China is red and black, and they are in last right now, trailing to Belgium. Artistic look on the Belgian marble, but speed is the key here. They are pretty tight with each other. Belgium's all over the place, but they get through that second funnel first. Down to their final funnel. Here they come. Here comes China. At the end, it's Belgium to win it with a time of 28.22. And China comes across at 33.21. Just under 5 seconds later, Belgium moves on. Here is Canada against Mexico. Canada in the dark red. Mexico in the green. Being pretty tight with each other, and it's almost dead even. Looks like a little bit of a lead for Canada. Let's see who gets down to the funnel first, and the answer is going to be Mexico. They make up a lot of time there. Relatively speaking, of course, it's all very tight in terms of actual time, and look at Canada. They may have come to the funnel second, but they are all the way down to the final funnel. What a move by the Canadians! They are down to their final funnel. Can they surround it and get through first? Mexico still has a long way to go. Canada built a huge lead. Can they survive? The answer is yes. Mexico did a great job, but unfortunately for them, they finished 1 second too late. 40.01. Good enough to move Canada into the quarterfinal. And now it's Cameroon against Portugal. teams very tight early, and it is Cameroon that gets to the funnel first. We've seen that not necessarily matter. Mexico got to the funnel first and could not close the deal. Cameroon down to their second funnel. So is Portugal. A little bit of a lead it looks like right now for Cameroon. But you can make up a lot of time very quickly, and they are going to be dead even. Almost. Oh, what a move! Portugal, with a time of 31:07, ran right through the final funnel, and they win it by over 5 seconds to a time of 36:22, as Portugal is moving on with a very quick final funnel. You can't come back from that when it's at the very end of the course. Great run from Portugal. They're moving on. And now the matchup moves to Peru against England. It is Peru. I'm not sure exactly what color that is. Oh, okay, there it is. It's black and red. They come out second, though. The lead right now belongs to England, who is in a lighter colored marble. They get to the funnel first. Pretty good job, though. It looked like Peru picked up a little bit of time there. You could visibly see as they get through the funnel first. England stuck in the first funnel. Now they're down to their second, but Peru is down to the third. Last funnel to go for Peru. England trying to catch up. They do, but they are going to come up too late. 28:24, the winning time. Peru moving on. England, a 32:15. Peru with a nice move. They will face Brazil in the next round in our final matchup. Russia against the United States. Russia in the dark red. The U.S. typically, as always, in their silver. Looks like the United States with an early lead. Let's see. It's Russia who gets out first. Took a turn when they came out of our view. And Russia with a noticeable advantage as they get to the funnels. But the United States look like they're circling that funnel. They get down to the second funnel first. Russia still in the first funnel. They're down to their second. The United States circling the second. They're down to the final funnel. Russia running out of time. They had a big lead. They have blown that big lead, and the U.S. is going to win this one easily. A time of 32:19, and it's going to be, what, nearly 10 seconds? Almost? Yeah, almost. 9.91 seconds later, a time of 42:10. Russia is eliminated after blowing a pretty big lead. So now on to our quarterfinal matchups. Sweden against Canada. And they are off. Very slowly making their way down. Looked like the lead belonged to Canada. It does. Very quick-fire, fast-paced action course and tournament. Sweden circling, so is Canada. This is looking to be pretty close. Right now, the lead belongs to Sweden and very tight. Sweden, though, makes very quick work. They got through that second funnel incredibly fast. Now they're trying to work on the third funnel. Here comes Canada. They're trying to come back. Canada, watch them to the top side. They are going to come up a little short. Sweden moves on with a time of 44:19. Canada nearly came up with that one. 50:05 is their final time. Sweden, with that big second funnel, moves on to the semifinals. And it's the Netherlands against Portugal now. It's a pretty interesting matchup we just saw. We saw a lot of determining factors, which included that very quick second funnel. Here's Portugal against the Netherlands. They look pretty close. They were. It's just a slight lead for the Netherlands. They grow the lead as they came out of our view, and when they come back in, the lead was definitely larger for the Netherlands than it was when they came out of view. But Portugal makes it up in the funnel. They come out of the first funnel first. Now they're circling the second funnel. The Netherlands needs to pick up their speed. Here comes Portugal. They're into the final funnel. The Netherlands struggling to get through the second. Portugal all over the entranceway. They are headed to the semis as they get the final funnel down with a time of 39:02. They win it, and the Netherlands struggle with the funnels and finish with a time of 47:08. They are eliminated. And Portugal will at the very least play for a spot on the podium. Back to the top left, it's Brazil against Peru. Really like that splatter look on the Peruvian marble. Very interesting look. Very classic yellow and black look for Brazil. Let's see who comes out first. It's Brazil. They're ahead a little bit. But we've seen this area right here, when they come out of our view, a totally different look potentially when they come back in. Not that time though. Brazil holds the lead. But look at Peru. They take advantage. And they're all the way down to the final funnel. Another very quick second funnel. Peru is making very quick time. They are through and into the semis with, I think, the fastest time we've seen. That's a time of 24:09. Very impressive. And Brazil still going to put up a good time, but it's too little too late. 34:11. Peru is into the semis. Very impressive run. And the final matchup of this second round is the United States against Belgium. Again, the artsy look of Belgium. Classic silver for the U.S. Looks like it's Belgium in the lead, and it is. Pretty tight. But we've seen this first funnel can become very important. Look at that. The United States taking advantage. They're out first. Second funnel, the United States. Once again, here comes Belgium. But the U.S. is through. An impressive time, 27:06. They're on to the semis. Belgium at a time of 31:11. They're going to be eliminated. We've seen some impressive runs that have not resulted in moving on. Just saw a couple of them in a row. Brazil put up a good time, and Belgium also put up a good time, and neither moved on because the teams they were facing put up a better time. Here we go between Peru and Sweden, and it was Sweden to come out first when the relay portion of the course happened. Sweden gaining the lead here. Peru's been really good with the funnels. Let's see how well they do. They continue to do good. They're into the second funnel first. They are into the third funnel. Sweden still on the first. Sweden still on the first. They drop down to the second as Peru drops to the finish. Another great time, 22:05, and Peru is just flying through this course. Sweden will finish respectably at 33:14, but they are gonna be relegated to the third place matchup. Peru is into the final, and they have just dominated this course over the last couple rounds. Of Portugal. See who comes out first. Looks like it was Portugal with the lead. It is. They've got a sizable advantage, and we'll see who comes back out to the funnel first. Really, who can do the funnels better is going to be the team that's going to win. They're pretty tight right now. Who can get through it first? It's the U.S. Pretty tight on their heels is Portugal. Second funnel's going to become important. Portugal all over it. The U.S. and Portugal both very tight. It's going to come right down to the finish. Here they go. Left side is Portugal. Right side is the United States. It's the U.S. that's going to win and move on to the final. A time of 34:22, just under 2 seconds ahead of Portugal as they are into the final to take on Peru. And now it is the third place matchup for a spot on the podium between Sweden and Portugal, who both put up good times, but as this course has gotten more and more used, they look pretty even there, and just a slight advantage for Portugal. But as we've used this more and more, you've seen these times have gotten shorter and shorter that they've been in this course. At least that's been the case typically. Portugal got their second, and they will get out of the first funnel second as well as Sweden holds their lead. Sweden is into their final funnel. Trying to finish it up. Both times will be plus 30 seconds. And, oh, what a move by Portugal. They went right through the final funnel. Slowly getting there with Sweden, but there was nothing you can do to beat that. Portugal is going to earn third. On a pretty impressive run as we get the finale now. The cup is on the line between the United States, a powerhouse, and Peru, who has put up some very impressive times. Under 25 seconds in each the quarter and semifinal matchups for them. They've got the spattered black and red look, the classic silver of the United States. And the attention goes to the starting posts. Here we go. The U.S. has had a little bit of trouble here. This time they've got a tiny, tiny lead. And they go out of our sight, and when they come back in, we'll be at the funnel. U.S. gets there first. Let's see what Peru can do. They've been incredibly good at the funnels. And again, they take the lead. The U.S. trying to hang in there with them. Peru is through their second funnel. The United States is through their second funnel. Here comes Peru. They're circling it. They've got it, and they win it. A time of 26:07, another sub-30-second time. The U.S. finishes at 31:10, but Peru gets the win. What a run. Peru just destroyed this relay race course, and they just absolutely dominated the funnels at the end. Peru is the champion. Give third and the bronze to Portugal. Give second and the silver to the United States, but you can give the gold to Peru. They dominate the course, and they win the tournament with incredibly... As always, we are happy to have you back for another edition of Marble Fubeca. I am Ricochet here for MSPN's coverage, as we welcome you to another funnel race. Funnels are huge here on Marble Fubeca, and once again, we've got those here on our course. 5 funnels here for today's matchup, and then one of my favorite additions to these tournaments, and one of my favorite aspects of these courses. Right there, you see that large grid where a lot of decisions have to be made right up towards the starting gates. For our tournament today, 16 teams as always. And for me, it's a pleasure to see so many fans here in attendance today among all the different teams, and even some that are not representing specific teams who have made their way to today's event. On the left side of your screen, you see the 2019 team statistics for our different countries. Russia, Brazil, and England right now in our medal spots. And now we get a chance to meet the countries. The Netherlands, Portugal, Vietnam, and India in the bottom left quadrant. And then it's the United States, the Ivory Coast, Russia, and France. And on the right side of the bracket, it's Chile, Colombia, Italy, and Mexico. And then Indonesia, who's become a fan favorite, along with Argentina, Spain, and Brazil. No Mexico for today's tournament, which is a little bit different. And now we give you our first matchup. It's the Netherlands against Portugal. Goal will be to get down to the bottom first. And there is that large grid where decisions have to be made. Right now, the lead belongs to the Netherlands, getting through a little bit quicker. Here comes Portugal. And Portugal is going to push the Netherlands into the funnels. They're down through the first. You got to get through 5 funnels. Whoever gets to the bottom first is going to have the lead, and Portugal trying to make that pass. They do. They get to 3 first. Here comes the Netherlands. They'll try to answer back. They do. They're going to pass them up. They're into number 4. Portugal needs to hurry up. They're in a little bit of trouble. Oh, they look like the Netherlands was through, but they got pushed back up. And Portugal retakes the lead. The Netherlands gets down first. They will take the win. Back and forth they went, and the Netherlands gets the win at 37-20. Just ahead of 43 seconds even, a near 6-second win for the Netherlands as they get into the second round. An exciting matchup here to start, as Spain will now take on Brazil. Brazil, one of the favorites as always, but right now it's Spain in the lead. Brazil makes that pass. Now they're side by side again. And Spain's in some trouble. Oh, now they get back out. Wow, it looked for a second like Spain might get disqualified, but they get back out, give themselves a chance. They're still about a funnel behind. Oh, now there's a whole funnel in between the two. Spain is in funnel 3. Brazil is just now getting out of funnel 4. It's a 1-funnel lead. That's a big lead to make up if you're Spain. Gotta hurry. Brazil circling around, and just as Spain got to funnel 5, Brazil dipped out, and they'll take the win with a time of 38:01. Nearly 7 seconds later, Spain finishes with a time of 45 seconds even. Just fell too far behind to that opening grid, made it too difficult to come back from. As Russia will take on France now. Virtually no chance for Spain to make that comeback all the way. As Russia and France sharing blows, trading them back and forth. Now both are slowing a little. Russia's got the lead. France trying to get out of there, still having a hard time doing so, but they very quickly get through the first funnel. And that lead has slowed again. And they're both into the same funnel, both into funnel 4 now. Russia trying to retake that advantage. They will. But they're both in the funnel again. Here comes France at the last moment. France is going to go the left side and take the win. Winning it by just under 5 seconds over Russia. A come-from-behind win for France, who did not lead for virtually any of that matchup. But they're able to take the win and set up our next matchup, which is Chile against Colombia. And they are side by side, following each other. Ooh, some contact there between Colombia and Chile. More contact, and it's Colombia that comes out first. In the second funnel, still in the first is Chile. Now they even back up, and retaking the lead is Colombia. Once again, they're in the same funnel. Look at that pass by Chile to take the lead. They're in funnel 4, so is Colombia. Colombia gets down to funnel 5. They've got the advantage now. Who can get in at the end? It's going to be Colombia taking the win. Back and forth battle there, and it goes the way of Colombia as Vietnam takes on India now. Impressive resolve there from those teams. Not giving up. Vietnam's got the early lead, and it's a pretty big advantage right now. But anything can happen, and maybe some contact there. And now look at this. Here comes India. They almost took the lead, but can't quite. And so Vietnam into the second funnel. So is India now. India's going to get through first. They're down to funnel 3. Now they're both in funnel 3. Vietnam will make the pass back up, down to funnel 4. They're once again even. This time it's India that again will take the pass. Here comes Vietnam. Who gets the advantage? It is Vietnam who's going to get the win. And India will finish on the other side of the course just under 3 seconds later. So now Indonesia against Argentina. Indonesia has struggled in the most recent events, but they have become a fan favorite. As they will take on the Argentines. A lot of contact there. Both the marbles seem to slow a little bit. And right now, a fairly large advantage, which will belong to Indonesia. Argentina still trying to get into the funnel. They are nearly stopped, but they are able to get into the funnel and maybe make back some of that time. Indonesia has the lead, but they're both in funnel number 2 now. And it's still Indonesia. Indonesia's down to 4. Here comes Argentina. We can make that last second pass. Here's Argentina to the lead. Indonesia has struggled recently. Trying to come back. They do. They get the win. A last second pass by Indonesia to take the win. And they will advance to the next round. Ultimately, a pretty close matchup there. As now the United States, who will take on the Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast lost in the first round to Russia last time. The United States continuing to struggle recently. Side by side with the Ivory Coast, trading blows. In the lead right now is the United States. Oh, no, it's actually the Ivory Coast who gets out first, but now the U.S. gets through the first funnel. Now they're through the second funnel, through the third funnel, through the fourth funnel. Look at the moves by the United States. They are pulling ahead. A dominant effort here against the Ivory Coast, and the U.S. needs to finish off one more funnel. They've got a sizable lead, and now they've got the win. A time of 30-20. And the Ivory Coast running with a pretty respectable time themselves. They'll finish just under 40 seconds, 39-22. But that was 9 seconds later. So the U.S. with an easy win over the Ivory Coast. They made those funnels look incredibly easy. And now it's Italy against Mexico. Italy has had some success recently. Mexico, one of the powerhouses of this competition, as always. Making contact, and the pass by Italy. And now Mexico repasses them up, and Italy slowing a little bit, but comes back pretty easily and will now retake the lead. Going to that second funnel, look at the speed on the Mexican marble. Really picking it up there, putting it down, and not enough to take the lead as Italy holds on and moves to funnel 3. Now Mexico really putting the pressure on. It's still Italy in the lead. Mexico wondering what can they do to take the lead. There it is. They get the lead into funnel 5. And now to the final funnel. The speed of the Mexican marbles in the funnel, is it enough to get them the win? The answer is yes. They will take the win with a time of 44:15. Italy led almost from start to finish, but the speed in the funnels of Mexico was extremely impressive, and it was enough to get them the win. And it gets them the final spot in the quarterfinals, as the second round begins with Vietnam and the Netherlands. And it's Vietnam in the lead right now. Contact again, now the Netherlands take the lead. Who gets to the funnel first? The answer will be the Netherlands, but they were pushed by Vietnam, and Vietnam gets through that first funnel. So they've got the lead. Now they're both in the second funnel. Vietnam pushes that lead back out again, trying to keep themselves in a separate funnel, and they do it again. Now they're down to funnel 4. They get through that one very quickly. Vietnam closing in on a semifinal appearance. And Vietnam, with one more funnel to get through and a pretty large lead, they're going to move on. As the Netherlands really had no chance after they had to get pushed into the funnel and got passed up very quickly. Vietnam had all the momentum and did not back down. The effort was there, but the results are not for the Netherlands, as Vietnam is moving on to the semifinals. They'll face one of our matchup winners, and it is Indonesia now against Brazil on the other side of the bracket. I believe it's the United States, their matchup, that would potentially take on that previous winner, as this is Indonesia and Brazil now. Indonesia making their way through the course. Brazil is right there. Brazil sees an opening and passes them and gets into the first funnel, and now through the first funnel with the lead. We've seen these teams match up a few times. Indonesia's had success, but right now Brazil is making it look very easy. They've got 2 full funnels in between them. Indonesia's still in funnel 2, and Brazil is at the finish line with a time of 29:03. As Indonesia will now have to just finish this one out. A dominant win by Brazil. We saw that from the U.S. in the first round. And now in a matchup that has not had history on their side for Brazil, with Indonesia doing some damage against them in past tournaments, they go out and they dominate this one. They're going to win it by 25 seconds or so. And the time was 26:01 better. Nearly doubled them up as Brazil is into the semifinals. And now it is the United States against France. France beating out Russia, and the U.S. with the best run of the first round. Time was just over 32 seconds. That was just bested by Brazil, but the U.S. has the lead, and now they will hold on to the lead as France again struggling to get through into the funnels, and it's going to cost them. The U.S. again making quick work of the funnels. They've had a lot of success right now. They're in funnel 3. France is still in funnel 1. Now they're in funnel 4. Now they're down to funnel 5. What a matchup. The United States is going to win it again with a time of 29:03. And again, they just dominate their opponent. The Ivory Coast did a better job than France has done here. Largest margin of victory was 26:01. We just saw that. Brazil over Indonesia. Doesn't look like it'll be quite that big. As France will come across, it's still a 20-plus second win, and it's 23-12 ultimately as the differential, as the United States is moving on, and they will take on Vietnam, and now Mexico and Colombia, and the winner gets Brazil. Boy, those were back-to-back really impressive runs by those two countries, the U.S. and by Brazil. And now we'll look and see if we get one of those here for the third straight time. Mexico and Colombia, they're very close with each other. A lot of contact. Mexico's through the first funnel. So is Colombia. What a move. Colombia takes the lead. Colombia's down to funnel 4. Colombia's to funnel 5. They're making it look easy.
Mexico can do nothing but watch as Colombia is into the semis with a time of 23:05. That's about as fast as it's going to get. And a very quick time for Mexico. 27 seconds. But it's too little too late. Their tournament is over. As the United States will take on Vietnam. Those two fan bases sitting right next to each other in the stadium. And the U.S. very quickly again moving. Let's see what Vietnam can do to try to combat that. Made some contact, and the United States will say thank you very much. But Vietnam will say thank you very much. They're going to take the lead against the U.S., who gets into funnel 2. Now the United States has the lead back. USA or Vietnam, who gets the win? They're in funnels 2 and 3. Now they're both in 3. And Vietnam makes the pass on the United States. Vietnam is in funnel 4. The U.S. answers back. The U.S. and Vietnam both in funnel 5. Who gets around and through first? That's the question. Who's got the advantage? The United States makes the move. The U.S. is going to get the win. At the last moment, contact was made, and the U.S. with a bump and run to get to the championship. What a move by the United States, and they have looked really comfortable in this tournament. They haven't done so well recently, but the U.S. very comfortable here today, and they're into the finals. And they'll get either Colombia or Brazil. Brazil right now in the lead. There's Colombia. They're making contact, and they're stopping, and you're going to have to abort it. Yep, they're going to abort this run of the competition as both marbles stopped. And that might add to some bad blood between these teams now. They'll go again. Colombia on the left, Brazil on the right. Contact made a little bit. Colombia starting to struggle. More contact, and now Colombia takes the lead. Colombia will get down to the funnel first. Brazil is slowing. Brazil is in some trouble. Now they're going to get down. Nearly stopping, almost came to a halt. And Brazil nearly cost themselves a chance at the championship. But they are still behind. It is Colombia in the third funnel. Brazil in funnel number 2. Colombia down to 4. Brazil is to 3. Now they're both in 4. Here comes Brazil, and they're going to make the pass down to the final funnel. Great move and a great comeback by Brazil. Can they finish it off, or will it be Colombia with the comeback again? Nope, it's Brazil that gets the win. That was max effort the entire time. And so we'll get Brazil against the United States, but first the appetizer to the big entree. It'll be Vietnam against Colombia. Both of these teams losing in the funnels. Both had leads at points in their semifinal matches. And they nearly stopped again. Boy, Colombia is just going after other marbles. They are in funnel 3, so they've got the lead. Funnel 2, and now funnel 3 is where Vietnam resides, and Colombia down to funnel 4. 2 more to go. Colombia has the lead. There goes Vietnam. Now the speed picks up, and will a collision happen? Vietnam with a pass. Vietnam is going to medal. They finish in 3rd. And the come from behinds continue, as Vietnam will get 3rd place. And you have to know that the United States and Brazil were both watching very intently. As you see their cheering sections. The flag of the United States waving above the crowd as they look for their 2nd win. Brazil has had a lot of success. They try to continue it. U.S. on the left, Brazil on the right. Right now it is the United States in the lead. Now Brazil takes that lead back. The U.S. slowing a little bit. Brazil trying to largen their lead before they get to the funnels, and they already got through funnel 1. The U.S. still yet to get to the funnels. Now they're in their first funnel. Brazil is down to funnel 3. The United States is going to have to make very quick work. They are trying to even themselves back up. They're both in funnel 3 now. And look at the U.S. They've got the inside line, and the United States takes the pass and the lead. U.S. down to funnel 4. Brazil is now in funnel 4. Brazil is going to pass them back. Down to the final funnel. It's the U.S. who has the inside line. It's the U.S. that has the win. With a time of 43 seconds even, they pass up Brazil And there's a couple of lead changes in the final moments as the United States gets the championship win. They'll take the gold. Silver goes to Brazil. What a matchup. What a tournament for the United States. They dominate the tournament. In the first couple of rounds, it wasn't close. In the third round against Vietnam, who ends up coming in third there, they had to do a come from behind and then a big come from behind in the comeback win against Brazil. First place to the United States. Congratulations to them as they ran probably their best tournament that we have seen for them here on Marble Fubeca. They had a ton of success here with the grid and the funnels. Went through those funnels extremely quickly. And so today, for Marble Fubeca, we have a unique twist on one of our more common races, as another time trial race between countries for our tournament. And there is a very different aspect. There it is right there on your screen. It is a literal conveyor belt, which will be incorporated in the middle of the time trials here today. For this 16-team field, there are the team statistics for 2019. And for MSPN, I'm Ricochet, welcoming you to today's tournament. As you see the statistics, and now you'll see the teams that are going to compete. It's the Philippines, Russia, Australia with a rare appearance, and Germany in the bottom left quadrant of the bracket. And then the top left consists of Brazil, Vietnam. All eyes are going to be on Indonesia, and they'll take on Argentina, Colombia, the United States, Portugal, and Iceland, and then Mexico, Japan, the Netherlands, and Malaysia. First matchup is the Philippines against Russia. It's going to be very interesting to see this matchup here, just because it's the first one, and see how the conveyor belt moves. It's going to be a lot of banging back and forth as they are continuing to make contact with each other early. And right now, oh, Russia jumps to the lead. There they are on the conveyor belt, making their way through. I don't think there's any chance that these marbles will fall. Oh, look at that big drop into a funnel. And through first, it's going to be a pass. The Philippines has the lead. They're down to the second funnel now. Let's see if Russia can make that same pass. The answer is no. Now we make their way towards the pegs that they have to make their way through. And now this large portion, and all the way to the finish, as the Philippines finish, and Russia's actually going to get stuck. So they are disqualified and will not finish, but they were far enough behind anyway, and with too little track to remain that it wouldn't have mattered. As the Philippines move on, they win the first matchup. One thing to note there is that it does come to a sudden end, as it's the Netherlands against Malaysia now. Look at that very large view. I love that view of the course there. And lead right now belonging to Malaysia, and they're going to take that lead, making their way up the conveyor belt. Great look there. There they come into the funnel. And they are now going to be joined by the Netherlands. Malaysia in the gray, in the lead, and not for long as the Netherlands pass them up. Another pass happening in one of those funnels. That has been a very common happening recently, and I think that's because they've noticed that you're able to make those passes if you come in hard and make contact. Ooh, near stop for the Netherlands. They're slowly making their way through. Trying to get down towards the bottom, and they will finish ahead of Malaysia. And they will move on. And that's going to be the end of the day for the Malaysians. They finish 4 seconds behind and are eliminated. One thing to note here is that there's not as much time. We saw in our last video Indonesia, and here they are, trying to defend their crown yet again. I should note as they continue to win, and they've got the advantage right now, but now it's going to be passed up. Oh, that was so tight. They almost ended up in the same one. Very close with each other. Slight advantage for Argentina. Now here comes Indonesia. There's not as much time for them to make up a mistake, though, so it's really important to see who gets out first. And right now, through the first funnel at least, it's going to be Argentina. And now here comes Indonesia trying to make that pass. It looks like they've got the angle. Do they have the finish? No, they do not. Not quite. They are very close with each other. Who can get through first? Argentina making quick work. Here comes Indonesia. It's going to be too little, too late. Argentina wins, and they have eliminated Indonesia in the first round to end their reign of terror against the other countries. 3 consecutive podium finishes, 3 consecutive finals appearances, and consecutive back-to-back wins. 2 in a row have gone to Indonesia. That will change now. As here is Colombia against the United States, and the U.S. trying to bounce back from an early exit in our last video, which was the elevator video, which I've referred to in the past before as a conveyor belt. Definitely not as much of a conveyor belt as this. Oh, look at that pass! Are you kidding me? Colombia came in behind. They just bumped the U.S. right out of the way and said, I'll take that. They've got the lead. Now they're both in the funnel. Let's see if the U.S. can return the favor. The answer is no. Colombia's got that lead. Wow, a little bit of bully ball being played here by Colombia, just pushing the United States out of the way. And now the U.S. gets back in the lead, making their way down the pegs right around the corner. Great run there by the United States, and they are going to start to slow, and they're having a little trouble, and now here they come towards the end. Here comes Colombia. They push them out of the way again and get the win. Wow. Colombia just dominated the United States there and shoved them right out of the way and said, we will be moving on. Thank you very much. They get the win over the United States by just over a second. And now it is Brazil against Vietnam. That was a shocking run. Ooh, big contact there between these two marbles. Facing off, another contact made. Ooh, big run there. Slowing and falling back a little bit was Vietnam. It cost them a spot on the conveyor belt. They've still got the lead, though. Very interesting the way this conveyor belt works. You can kind of just push people out of the way. And if you line up wrong, you could potentially lose your spot and have to drop back a spot. Vietnam still got the lead over Brazil. A couple of favorites out early, the United States. 2-time defending champs, 3-time defending final appearances for Indonesia, and they lost. Not going to be the case, though, here for Brazil. They'll move on. And so they are able to advance to the second round, and now they will face Argentina. It would have been a second consecutive appearance, or tournament at least, that we would have seen Brazil against Indonesia in the second round. That's not to be, though. They'll take on Argentina. And now back towards the top. Iceland's got a very beautiful white marble with some blue, yellow, red mixed in. Classic green and dark red for Portugal. A lot of banging back and forth there, and stealing that spot is Iceland. They have the lead. It's tight, though, here early on. Really interesting, the strategy involved here for this tournament. Different aspect here, as Portugal is going to take that lead right back. Pass them in the funnel. That's clearly, if you're not going to get the lead and have it consistently. Oh, look at the move there by Iceland. They pass them back. They've got the lead. They're heading down right through the middle of the course. They've got one more move to make. Now they're starting to slow. They get stuck. They get stuck, and Portugal's going to win. Iceland blows it at the last moment. Oh, what a helpless feeling. They had it, and they had it easily, and at the last turn, they get stuck. That is heart-wrenching, heartbreaking for Iceland. Oh, my. Germany takes on Australia now. Germany's got a different look. They're black and white here today, and Australia's got blue and red, and they are clear as well, and they've got a lead right now. Oh my goodness, that's just heartbreaking for Iceland to lose in that fashion. Now here comes Germany trying to circle it. They will get through the first funnel. Making their way down. Here's Australia. They look good, and they're going to take the lead right back. You don't want to head down the middle. That's exactly what Australia did. Maybe opening the door for Germany if they can head down the side. Nope, they're going to follow suit. And meanwhile, Australia is going to win. 42:03 the time. Germany's starting to struggle, but they will at least cross the finish line. 7 seconds later, they're eliminated. And one more spot. It's Japan against Mexico. We've seen a couple of our either fan favorites or favorites in terms of their success rates go down. Japan and Mexico. Mexico's definitely one of them. They've had a lot of success, and they are right now following ahead of Japan, but Japan jumps ahead at the last second, and Mexico passes them up as they're waiting for a spot on the conveyor belt. We saw Colombia do that to the United States, and Mexico just did it to Japan, and now Japan trying to pass them back up. They do. That is the perfect way to combat that. Let's see if they can get out of the second funnel okay. They do. They've got the lead, headed to the final portion of this course. Getting through pretty quickly, making their way down towards the bottom. Last move to make. They've got it, and Japan is going to take out Mexico. Very fast time, 42:01. A respectable 48:18, but still well too slow against Japan. Mexico is eliminated. Japan's moving on. And our quarterfinal matchup is set. First one will be Brazil against Argentina. Argentina with the upset of Indonesia. And Brazil with their onlookers and supporters sitting right next to the Argentines. Contact made there. Ooh, Brazil really struggling right now. Getting stuck. And meanwhile, Argentina able to build a lead, but it goes right away. That was a big comeback early in this race for Brazil. For a moment, it looked like they might just get stuck all entirely. Instead, they're able to come back. Get right up next to Argentina here as they enter the first funnel. Ooh, this is tight. Argentina, though, holds on to the lead. That's big for them. And now here comes Brazil again, trying to make that pass. And they will. They've got the lead back. Argentina following them very closely. It'll come down to the end. Argentina with a little stumble. And it is enough for a very close win for Brazil. Wow, only 1/10 of a second. But Brazil is moving on. Now it's Portugal against Colombia. Colombia there, the yellow, red, and blue. Big contact, and the lead right now to Colombia, trying to make quick work here. Oh, look at the move there by Portugal, and they've got the lead. Passed them up at the last moment and stood their ground. Colombia bullied the United States right out of that spot. That time, Portugal would not oblige. Big move there by Colombia. Who's going to get out first? It's going to be Colombia. Good move. Weren't able to force Portugal out of the way, but they did still pass them in that funnel. And now Portugal will pass them right back. Starting to build a lead. Colombia struggling in that second funnel. That might be too late. Portugal, one more move to make. They're starting to slow, but it's not going to be slow enough. They're going to finish first and advance to the semifinals. And now Colombia is going to get stuck. And so their day will end with a disqualification as they are eliminated. Just trying to finish the course, and they couldn't. And now Australia will take on the Philippines. Philippines won our first matchup. There they are. And over a couple is Australia. Australia has not been a very common opponent here today. Or here, I should say, this year, in terms of making appearances in tournaments. And a rarity here. There's a spot separating these two on that conveyor belt. That hasn't happened very often. And the Philippines, they don't care. They passed them anyway. Wow. Big comeback there by the Philippines. And now Australia passes them back. This one's going to be tight. Here comes the Philippines. There goes Australia down towards the end. They've got one more move to make, but they're not going to make it. They're going to get stuck. Oh, the pass at the end. Australia does come back to win. Back and forth they went, and they made the move at the last moment. Almost looked like they were waiting, praying on the Philippines, waiting for them to move out of the way so that they could make the move. Don't know if it was intentional or not, but if it was, that is a great run. Either way, it's going to get them into the semifinals and get us to our next matchup, which is the Netherlands against Japan. Pretty tight right now. Japan is going to move on into the conveyor belt first, and pretty large lead. There's 1, 2, 3 spots on that conveyor belt separating these two. I just said that hasn't happened very often. That's the largest lead heading into the funnel that we've seen from anyone. Let's see if that's going to be able to matter. It doesn't look like it will. There goes the Netherlands. They not only eliminated that deficit, but they take the lead. And now Japan trying to take it right back. They will. Back and forth they go in the funnels. That's been a theme for today's matchups. Japan trying to make quick work. They do. One more move to make, and they're moving on with a time of 45-16. Pretty quick run there. Pretty quick for both sides. But a little bit too slow for the Netherlands as they are eliminated. And our last matchup, I'm sorry, our first semifinal matchup will be Australia against Brazil. You're guaranteed a spot in a match to get on the podium. That's if you lose, you'll play for third. If you win, you're into the final. Brazil, Australia, like we said, the Aussies haven't played very often in these tournaments, but they are showing up here. Good start. And they're going to have the lead. Ooh, just barely. No separation right now. First funnel. And then Australia, yep, they will take the lead. They will have it out of the first funnel. Now here comes Brazil. Australia trying to pull the upset. But here comes Brazil. They will get towards the pegs first, making their way down into the final portion of this track, making quick work. Brazil. Now here comes Australia, and they pass at the end. They did it again. Back-to-back times, Australia makes the move, and they are moving on to their first final of the year. And they'll face either Portugal or Japan. Now that is a very dangerous move in terms of trying to block it. If the opponent is doing that, which we've seen from Australia a couple of times now, that's hard to beat. Good size lead right now for Japan. Portugal trying to figure it out. They're having a hard time doing so. That is 1, 2, 3, and then Portugal. So a good size lead for Japan. Let's see if they can continue that. They do keep the lead into the second funnel. Still in the first funnel is Portugal. Now they're making their way out, trying to distract Japan, get them to not be able to finish the funnel. It won't work. They're on to their final portion of this track. Can you finish it quickly? The answer for Japan is going to be quick enough. They're going to get the win. 47-12. Portugal is going to get stuck. Another disqualification. This time it's Portugal. They are disqualified from this match. Doesn't disqualify them from a chance to play for third, though, so they will take on Brazil. It's Australia against Japan, but first the third place match. There have been some close calls in this one. Brazil fell victim to that. Australia passing them at the last moment. Portugal coming off a disappointing semifinal matchup in which they were unable to finish, and they do take the lead now here against Brazil. No separation. As they enter the funnel. It looks like that's Brazil with the upper hand. It is. They are going to take the lead over Portugal. Now they're all over the place. And it is... looks like that's still Brazil. It is. Brazil still in the lead. And now they are stuck. They're in trouble. Here comes Portugal. If they hit them, they've got a chance. If they don't, it's over. It's going to be over. Portugal's going to win third by virtue of another disqualification. Brazil had a huge lead, but they see it slip away just like we saw with Iceland in the first round. Brazil misses out on a spot on the podium. And now it is Australia against Japan. Look at the metallic looks on both these marbles. At least from our camera, that's how it looks. Ooh, look at that move right there by Japan. They're going to take the lead. They are silver and some white mixed in. A lot of clear, blue-red involved for Australia. And it's Japan through the first funnel first. Moving on to the last funnel. And then the final portion of this track. And they're going to be mixed up in there with Australia, trying to confuse them. distract them and take the lead themselves. They cannot. Japan towards the final portion of the course. Now here comes Australia. It's going to have to be a mistake for Japan. Will they make that mistake? The answer is no, and the luck runs out for Australia. Japan wins this tournament. Australia did it on their last 2 times, where they were able to catch their opponent in a mistake and make a move with the killer instinct. That's not to be this time. Japan got ahead, stayed ahead, and finishes in first. 3rd place goes to Portugal. They're on the podium. Australia with a very strong second, but all eyes are on Japan as they get the win in the first conveyor belt tournament. Very interesting aspect added to these time trial tournaments, as the conveyor belt allowed some passes to be made that we may not have normally seen, and it added an extra element of surprise and excitement to our tournament. So we're glad that you watched it, and we're glad that we were able to have a fun and exciting tournament. So again, congratulations to Japan. Until next time, I'm Ricochet, and thanks for watching.